conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is an artist, a business owner, and of course, an author too, none other than Mr. Fragoza S. Welcome,
Thanks for
welcome.
having me. Yeah, thanks for
Yes.
having me, man.
Welcome, Mr. Fragoza. And can you please introduce yourself? That
Yeah,
I missed.
I love the Mister. I know that's so good. It makes me feel a little bit older, but I love it. So most people just call me Fragoza. I'm a musician, an artist, uh, author, business owner, a jack of all trades, master of some. I guess you would say. But yeah, I'm very happy to be here, and I got an eclectic mix of things that I like to do and passions that drive me.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, today let's talk about why consistency is king. So, tell us, Mr. Fragoza, let's start with the big picture. Beyond the cliche, what is about consistency that gives it such a loyal status in both business and personal growth?
Yeah, there's a leering statement from a lot of entrepreneurs that are, you know, that's becoming more prevalent. It's that consistency will beat out motivation. Consistency, discipline, the art of always showing up is something that has pushed me forward in anything that I've ever tried. So, um, whether it's starting a business or when I was younger, it was athletics, and when I was kind of mid 20s, it was music. Continuing to show up was pretty amazing. How many results or how plentiful the results were when I consistently showed up. So I preach this to myself daily, and my business partner that I have, we always say it's a battle of attrition. Business is a battle of attrition, and we will last. So we will be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. We will be continually consistent when our competition is not. So consistency drives everything. Um, that's how I see it.
Yes, people consistency is the one key of ingredients to success. How do you distinguish between positive consistency and simply being stubborn or resistant to change?
That's a really tough. That's a really tough question because in order to be successful in so let's split it up. The success in business working for someone and success in business working for yourself looks completely different. And consistency definitely looks different because when you're working for yourself and you're starting a brand, a lot of times it does look like stubbornness. It looks like you doing the same thing. It looks like insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and getting the same result and not changing your approach. Um, However, that consistency is the only things that I guess you would say that discipline or that repetition is a belief that you are correct and the masses are not. Because have you ever seen? There's a really famous video of dancers on. They're at a concert in a festival, and they're dancing on a grassy knoll, if you will. And there's just one person dancing, and he dances for a little bit, and then fine. But it's so long, and it's so awkward, and it's so, like you said, stubborn. It's so stubborn, and finally, he has one person who joins him, and then a second, and a third and a fourth and then finally a crowd joins him. Business is very much like that. Starting your own brand is very much like that. It feels like you're dancing alone at a concert and no one really cares. And you have to be consistent enough and persistent enough to wait for others to show up.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Fragoza. And many people equate consistency with boredom or lack of creativity. How would you debunk that myth?
Well, it's not so much a myth because those of us who are creative, we do get bored in the consistent repetition of, I guess you would say, the monotony of everyday business. What I've found is that I am consistently exercising the practice of finding my muse. So when I get stagnant, I am consistently getting up out of my office, walking outside, and going for a walk. Sometimes space and open areas and um, empty mind, empty mindedness creates enough catalyst to get the idea, to get the solution, to get, the answer to the problem that is the crux of whatever you're trying to solve in your business. So I think to break up that boringness, you have to consistently have a tool that you can run back to that feeds the creative, because if you don't, you will suffocate. Anyone who's in my position, who's working for themselves, they left their 9 to 5 because they were suffocating. Your job or your passion can also suffocate you if you are not careful to add some type of mechanism, like a walk, like um, you know, an exit from the office, an exit from responsibility from time to time to respark, the initial fire that was in you when you left or started on your project.
And how about from a neurological or psychological standpoint, why does consistent action so effectively build trust, both ourselves and with others?
Well, with others, that's huge because if you're not consistent, if you're not reliable, if you're not someone who can be counted on, it is going to be very difficult to run your own business, to um, to show up consistently for the clients that are hiring you to achieve their goals, right? And so, my company does marketing. If we're not consistent, if we're not, um, you know, adamant on being on time with the deliverables that we have, our clients will find other people to execute. Now, those people might not be as creative, and they might not be as fun to work with, but the bottom line doesn't care anything about that. The consistency for others has to be there. And then when it comes to yourself, the the journey of being an entrepreneur is very lonely. It is very scary. It is financially draining, and there are long periods of time in which you feel lost. I explain it like you're in the wilderness for those people who hike. If you've ever gone on really long hikes, they have these things called pylons, and those pylons, those markers, are very, very far apart. And the further you get into the wilderness, the further apart those pylons become. Um, when you are consistent, you build trust with yourself that you know what you're doing. And even though you get further along in business and those pylons are very, very far away, because you've been so consistent and you've hit so many before, you give yourself a calm or a peace that you will make it to the next pylon, that you'll make it to the next marker, to the next goal, to the next paycheck, to the next client, whatever that looks like. That consistency helps you sleep at night, for lack of a better explanation.
We often hear about compound interest in finance. How does consistency create a similar compound effect in habit formation and skill development?
Yeah, I'm going to butcher this. And if my business partner, Nate, if you hear this, I apologize because you talk about this so much. Um, the compound interest of consistency is exponential. It's just like you said, it's just like finance, right? And really, it's a 10 minutes a day, I think, is what they say. If you spend 10 minutes a day on your craft, the compounding interest, the first day it's just 10 minutes, right? And then the next day it might 0.1x. So it's 10 minutes. It's you spend 10 minutes, it's the equivalent of 10 minutes and 2 seconds. Well, the next day if you spend 10 minutes on that, it might be the equivalent of 10 minutes and 5 seconds. But at each day that goes by and that 10 minutes every single day, by the time you reach a year, that 10 minutes is exponentially pushing you down the um, expertise path of your craft. And we're all familiar with Malcolm Gladwell and 10,000 hours and becoming a master. To do that, you have to be consistent. You have to have compound consistency to get to that 10,000 hour mastery. Um, Without it, the scattered, you're almost relearning, right? If you've ever had, and this is good for me, this is Spanish for me. So many times in my life I've tried to learn Spanish, but I've not been consistent at all. And every time I go back and try to start learning Spanish again, I don't have any built up compound interest at all. I'm starting from scratch every single time, and it's such a arduous journey to get it going. I have no consistency, therefore I have no progress. And sitting here at 40 years old, I still do not know very much Spanish, and I've been trying to do it, quote unquote, trying for the better half of 10 years.
And what are the role of identity in maintaining consistency? Is it more effective to say, I'm writing a book or I am a writer?
I think that's a tough question because I have I am very goal oriented. So I am one of the people who will write down I'm writing a book, which sometimes turns into a lot of projects, right? Um, I'm writing a book. Okay, it's this book over here, and it's this book over here, and I probably have like two or three books on the shelf that have been partial manuscripts for years, and I'm still. Then you ask me, I'm writing those books. Same thing with music and everything else that I do. Uh, but I do have a list of things, a folder, if you will. And actually, my folders, you can't see my screen right now, but my folders on my desktop are labeled I am a writer. The one beneath that is I'm a musician. And it's a reminder that these are not things that I'm working on, these are things that I am. And I need to consistently pour into them because they are an identity, like you said. They are part of me, and they deserve the respect of consistency.
The respect for sure. And let's talk about the challenges and real world application. Every struggles with motivation. What are your top strategies for maintaining consistency when you simply don't feel like doing the work?
Yeah, this is kind of cheating. I have really good people around me. I have a team of people that count on me, and without them being there, I'll fall short because there's no consequences for me not doing the things that I need to do for me. If my life is worse, that's fine. I came from nothing, I can go back to nothing. It's pretty easy. But the individuals that work with me, um, they rely on me to be consistent. And so without them uh, kind of acting as you know, a guiding light, if you will, or a supplement to my own motivation, or a supplement to my lack of consistency, um, I try to attach myself to their good habits, and they try to attach themselves to uh, my good habits. A great example of this is I have a buddy who very consistently has amazing discipline when it comes to the gym. I was a very successful amateur athlete. I have, countless awards and accolades that I can rattle off that will tell you that I am, I'm the man. However, waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go to the gym is difficult for me. My buddy, he doesn't have the same accolades, but waking up at 4 a.m. for the gym, no problem for him. He is just up, clockwork. So I attach myself to his good habit. I'm like, hey, dude, can I can I work out with you every day? How do you feel about me being like your gym buddy? Is that cool with you? That's great for me because he's so consistent. If I don't go, I know I'm going to get some crap from him like, hey, dude, what's up? You just skipping days now? We work out every single day. We wake up early every single day. He makes that a part of his life. And, being around people like that, you can, if you're creative, so there's a little bit of inconsistency in you. Find people who are consistent and attach yourself to them because you need them.
Yes. Tell me your friends, and I will tell you who you are, as they said. And how important are systems and routines versus sheer willpower in the quest of consistency?
Yeah, willpower is only good for the short term. It's only good for the ethos, the start, the beginning of a project or an idea, and that will get you so far. But there will be so many days where things are not going as planned, the project's taking longer, you're not making the money you thought you would. All those things weigh on you, and you will falter if you don't have some level of consistency or discipline to to get you back moving in the correct direction.
Mr. As a artist, business owner, an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short term are getting less and less. I am starting to think a lot more long term. Uh, I had I had quite a few long term goals that I thought I would have already achieved by now, and they've rotated some. I had dreams of being an athlete and uh, got very, very far down that road. Some health issues pulled me out, and so I rotated to acting and music and artistry and did that for quite some time. And again, made some waves, did some really cool things, was in some TV shows, movies, and commercials, and wrote music and toured and did all that. Again, that still the curse of being a very successful young man as an athlete. Everything that I do does not reach the pinnacle of what I think it should. So my short-term goals in business is to make sure that my employees eat. That's the shortest term I can think of. My long term goals in business is to build something that I can leave to my children, my nephews, my niece, whatever family I end up with. I want a legacy that, they will have options that I didn't have. Um, in one of my businesses that I'm currently sitting in right now, we have the Headspace Studios, and I talked about my business partner Nate. We're building something. We want to be able to provide a space for people to express themselves, do art, um, and make the journey for them easier than it was for us at Headspace Studios here in St. Louis. So each business that I run has a different goal, or a product or a service, but all of them have the same essence of making sure that those who work in the business are also achieving their goals, putting food on the plate for their families, and that we're serving a public good.
Very well said, and good luck to your goals, Mr. Fragoza. And looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Well, I do not wish that upon anybody because there's not a lot of sleep. It's currently 9:30 here, and
Mhm.
I still have a few more hours worth of work. Um, this path is not for the faint of heart. But I would say if you want to escape the 9 to 5, if you want to chase your dreams, as they say, um, it will cost you everything. And you will lose friends, you will lose companions, you will lose money. um, but the reward on the other side is very, very fruitful. There is nothing like walking into a building that your business is in, a business that you own, and that you around people that work with you that you can be proud of. There's nothing better than seeing a product that you created help other people. And to do this, you have to ignore all the noise. Everyone will tell you it's foolish. Everyone will tell you that it's not safe. They're not wrong. It's not safe. This is one of the most dangerous things I've ever done. You're risking your future, you're risking your life, your livelihood. But it is so worth it. Um, and the things that you will learn about yourself uh, far surpass any bit of monetary loss or, you know, failure that you reach. The self discovery when owning your own business is uh, pretty amazing.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Fragosa. And what book of philosopher or figure from history who best exemplifies the consistency is king principle and why?
The consistency thing, that is a very, I mean, I have some figures that I definitely admire. And as far as like being consistent and continually doing the same thing, I can't think of philosophers. Philosophers in general are almost nuanced because they, you know, I think of like at first I thought of Marcus Aurelius, and some of so he was very inconsistent a lot in some of his stuff. They're kind of out there, but I think mostly of athletes when I think of consistency. You know, you think of people like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, people who consistently show up to practice over and over and over. I was a wrestler, so Dan Gable, Cael Sanderson, those guys who are in the gym before everybody else, they're the last person to leave. Um, the athletes in our world show us what is possible. Um, they complete unbelievable feats. You look at the what each sport looks like now compared to what it looked like when they started, and the only reason it's they are progressing so rapidly is because the generations that came before showed that you could just do it by consistency. And those younger people saw that and then took it to another level and then made it even more consistent and more extreme and more consistent. Um, I think athletes as a whole and then those specific ones really stand out for what it means to be consistent and to do the hard thing when you don't want to do the thing.
Mr. Tell us web and media solutions. What is all about on your website?
So this is Collecting Heads Media. This is one of the organizations that I run. We started Collecting Heads. Oh, I think we started running it as a DBA probably about 3 years ago now. It started just with me and my partner in that venture, Stephanie Chavez. Shout out, Steph. You run the whole company. I am just a shell. Uh, I am a pretend person. She does everything. Um, we handle anything from website design to SEO, search engine optimization, ad management, social media management, public relations, the digital arts with photo, video, graphic design. Um, you know, anything that is marketing, we handle it. AI integration. I have, like I said, a team of seven, depending on the week, seven to probably 10 contractors and employees that knock all this stuff out for us. Very, very, very capable people, far smarter than me, doing really good work for industry across the U.S.
Well, good luck to this business, Mr. Fragoza, and looking forward for more success. And looking at the current trends in AI and rapid technological change, why might human consistency become an even more valuable currency in the future?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one because it's almost counterintuitive, right? We currently build AI models for sales, inbound and outbound calls. And I cut my teeth in sales. That's where I started in business, and that's all consistency. It literally is just X amount of calls for X amount of dollars in your bank account. Um, I almost feel like AI is going to make us less consistent. I feel like AI is going to be a monetary good and a character or work ethic negative effect on humanity. AI is so interesting. What becomes of humanity when they do not have to do the hard tasks? What happens when you don't have to do hard things anymore? It's going to be a very interesting world, and there's a lot of talks going on between the AI philosophy minds of, is this something we should even do or go down? I think it's incredibly important to be consistent and build that consistency, because I do think AI will threaten our natural ability to be consistent, and it will become even more so. The saying, in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. Um, it, the people who are consistent in a world of AI making everyone inconsistent, those people are going to dominate. If you can teach yourself to show up, do the hard thing, continue to be consistent, as people get more apathetic, lethargic, and just disconjointed or conjected. I'm making up words now. But as they get separated from the task at hand, you will fast forward light years ahead of them if you can master consistency.
Definitely, again, people, consistency is the key. One of the key ingredients of success. So, Mr. Fragoza, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Fragosa, tell us, looking forward or looking ahead, what is one area of your own life where you're currently focusing on being consistent?
Yeah, I think for me, that's my quiet time in the morning. So owning owning businesses, it's great. It's fun. It's exciting. But it comes with a lot of time behind a computer, a lot of time at work, and not a lot of time to yourself, and not a lot of quiet. uh, my morning quiet time, meditation time, prayer time, however you spend your quiet time. Uh, I am a better person when that is very consistent and exercised daily. I'm a more calm person. I'm a more connected person to others, and that needs to be. Um, I've been working on that for a while. There's been times in my life it's kind of like an ebb and flow. Sometimes it's been great, and sometimes it's been not so great. And right now it's not so great. I need to get it back to being very consistent.
Mr. Fragoza asks, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your arts, your books, or whatever projects that you're
Yeah,
doing right now?
the easiest way to do that is just go, excuse me, go online, collectingheadsmedia.com. And we also have headspacestudios.com. Those are the two spots, the two businesses I'm focused on right now.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Fragoza as because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering business to come, and for sure, books too. And Mr. Fragoza, thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon.